the earth.
Our third reading is taken from Evangelii Gaudium, the Joy of the Gospel, by Pope Francis. On the homily, Article 154, an ear to the people. The preacher also needs to keep his ear to the people and to discover what it is that the faithful need to hear. A preacher has to contemplate the word, but he also has to contemplate his people. In this way, he learns of the aspirations, the riches and limitations, of ways of praying, of loving, of looking at life and the world, which distinguish this or that human gathering, while paying attention to actual people, to using their language, their signs and symbols, to answering the questions they ask. He needs to be able to link the message of the biblical text to the human situation, to an experience which cries out for the light of God's word. This interest has nothing to do with the shrewdness or calculation. It is profoundly religious and pastoral. Fundamentally, it is a spiritual sensitivity for reading God's message in events, and this is much more than simply finding something interesting to say. What are we looking for is what the Lord has to say in this or that particular circumstance. Preparation for preaching thus becomes an exercise in evangelical discernment, wherein we strive to recognize, in the light of the Spirit, a call which God causes to resound in the historical situation itself. In this situation, and also through it, God calls the believer. In this effort, we may need but think of some ordinary human experience, such as a joyful reunion, a moment of disappointment, the fear of being alone, compassion at the sufferings of others, uncertainty about the future, concern for a loved one, and so forth. But we need to develop a broad and profound sensitivity to what really affects other people's life. Let us also keep in mind that we should never respond to questions that nobody asks. Nor is it fitting to talk about the latest news in order to awaken people's interest. We have television programs for that. It is possible, however, to start with some fact or story so that God's word can forcefully resound in its call to conversion, worship, commitment to fraternity and service, and so forth. Yet, there will always be some who readily listen to the preacher's commentaries on current affairs, while not letting themselves be challenged. Here ends the third reading.
Thanks be to God.